Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. Today on the program, senators vow to scrutinize the 2019 national budget.
The bottom line here is money, appropriations.
This after the president's appeal for Congress to pass it.
It is their job to pass the bill.
And amid the ongoing dispute between the budget chief and the House of Representatives.
May problema ang DBM sa budget allocation nila for 2019.
Then sue me with Supreme Court. Go to the Supreme Court, sue me.
Also, the second wave of excise taxes on fuel products are now in effect.
It will potentially be the case that the rollbacks will happen more or less at the same time as the increase in excise.
But do we have enough countermeasures to minimize its impact?
Nakikita natin mula pa noong Nobyembre na yung pagtaas ng presyo ay na bumabagal.
Senate Committee on Economic Affairs Chairman Gatchalian joins us live. And later, a restaurant in Makati makes it to CNN's list of places to try this 2019. That's for today's InFocus. Thank you for joining us. I'm Pinky Webb. Malacanang issues a warning to lawmakers that the delay in the passage of the 2019 national budget may hamper the priority projects of the government and its services to the people. The palace encourages Congress to set aside partisan politics and act on the approval of the national budget as soon as possible. The ball is now in the Senate, and senators say they're doing their best to scrutinize the proposed budget. Also, the effects of the second tranche of the additional taxes on fuel products under the train law. Let's go straight to the source of the story. Senate Committee on Economic Affairs Chairman Senator Gatchalian. Senator, good to have you again.
Happy New Year,
Happy New Year also to you, sir. So much to talk about. I'm going to start with the budget.
Okay.
Prior to your break, Senator Migs Zubi was saying, we're going to fast this, we're going to work overtime, then realize you guys didn't have enough time.
Correct.
So what is the status right now?
Pinky, the public should understand that the budget is probably the most sacred document that Congress approves. It's sacred because the government will not function without the budget. And we will not achieve our economic growth without the budget, because all the new projects are lodged inside the new budget. And that's why we operate in a very strict schedule. And in some administration, they even lengthen the budget process or made the dates earlier so that the budget can be approved as early as possible. But this time around, Congress submitted to the Senate the budget about a month late, and that's why we have the senators have a lot of questions. We have a process that we have to follow, and we cannot cut the process for the sake of just approving the budget. It's a very complicated document. We have a lot of details that we need to scrutinize, and that's why we need to follow the schedule to the dot and to the date.
So the thing is, nobody's blaming the Senate on this. In fact, the senators have been saying that it came to us late. I believe it came to the Senate sometime late November.
Correct.
November 21.
There's a schedule,
like that,
from the budget call all the way to the approval. And normally we try to approve it before maybe around first week of December, so that the president can study it, the DBM can study it, and then ratify it at the end. But when you delay it by a month, obviously everything will be delayed. And then when all of these things come out, itong mga controversies, then you also have this urge of scrutinizing it again once more. No?
So here's the thing, sir. Let me cut you there. Do you personally see anomalies in the 2019 national budget?
I think we have to look at the process, Binky. The process starts from the local level. It starts from the local governments, and then it gets consolidated to the regional development council, and then it gets consolidated to the regional offices, then consolidated to the national government, and submits it to the Congress. So it starts from the local level, because what we want is to get the people involved in the budgeting process. And dahil alam ng mga local governments kung ano yung kailangan nila, the local governments are involved through the RDC. What happens right now is some of the congressmen will insert some of their pet projects. No? So nagkakaroon ng shortcut ngayon. So instead of the local level to Congress, Congress inserts some of their pet projects. And it's very difficult to stop congressmen and even legislators because I have to admit, some of the local governments come to us.
Yeah.
They say, oh,
Seek your help.
Senator, kailangan namin ng bagong eskwelahan. Can you help us? No? So the normal process that I undertake is I send that letter back to DepEd and then say, DepEd, kayo nung, you evaluate if this is really needed in that district.
But do you endorse it, sir?
I endorse it.
Okay.
I really endorse it. But I don't force DepEd to put that project because DepEd will know if that project is really needed in that area or not.
Okay.
It's really the line agency who would know whether that project is needed in that area or not. But the public, local governments can come to the congressmen, can come to the senators, and lobby for projects. But the right method there is bring it back to the line agencies because the line agencies will have the regional development plans and also the regional investment plans. All of these documents are very important because these are the guiding documents that will determine whether that project is needed in that area or not. Or else, shortcut mo. Kung anong tingin mong kailangan, pinapasok mo doon. Eh kung hindi kailangan,
I understand.
then money is wasted.
So here's the bone of contention. There is a budget. Senator Bing Lacson says there's pork. Congress, the House of Representatives rather, approves this, and then eventually says there is. Kasi it's spun into a web of a number of things. I want to go back to this, sir. The 75 billion peso alleged insertion in the DPWH budget, which they say the DPWH did not know, which Secretary Ben Diokno says this is really part of. There was an explanation to that it was even approved during a cabinet meeting. Is there an insertion? Was there something wrong with the 75 billion?
This is my own observation, Pinky, and I just want to share with you my own observation post-pork barrel era. Ang dami ng bagong terminologies right now. There's insertions, there's parking.
Allotment.
There's allotment. Ang dami ng bagong lumabas eh. And my view on this is we have to just follow the process. No? And the process dictates that it has to start from the local, it goes to the line agencies, then it goes to Congress. And then if you want to, let's say some NGO wants to lobby for a specific project, bring them back to the line agencies. That's the normal process. But if you shortcut it by inserting a project outside of that process, then that becomes questionable. Because that project might not be needed in that area. And this is where the controversies come in because now people are alleging, hindi naman kailangan ng flood control.
Correct.
Bakit nandoon yung flood control?
Yeah.
Hindi naman kailangan ng ganitong
Or
project.
the officials are saying, I have no knowledge of this flood control project in my area.
Correct. So it has to be part of that process, which is the Regional Development Council comes up with the Regional Development Plan and an investment plan. If nasa loob yung project, if the project is inside those plans, then those plans will dictate the entire budget process.
Does it mean, Senator, may kasalanan talaga yung mga congressmen dito because they're inserting? Ganun ba yun?
I really don't know the details, because some of those congressmen probably linapitan ng kanilang constituents, and then they went to DPWH or to DepEd to lobby for those projects. But again, the process is very clear. In fact, when I was in the local government unit, we have to follow that process in order to get projects for our jurisdiction.
But that's in an ideal world, possibly, Senator.
Correct.
Right?
That's a very good statement because marami nagsho-shortcut ng process. And this is where the problem comes in. Because when you shortcut the process, you now cannot determine whether that project is needed in that area or not. Or yung project niyan is only for the sole purpose of that congressman or that legislator.
So is there a problem in the 2019 budget, as you see it?
I think there were probably insertions. The question now is whether those insertions are really needed or those insertions are not needed, and those insertions can be a root cause of corruption.
So definitely what you're saying, there are insertions. You're saying that's for sure. However, you're saying the insertions might be valid.
Can be, correct. I'll give you a very specific example, Pinky. Even line agencies can come to us. Sasabihin nila, for example, Department of Justice, they will need a new office for a prosecutor, for prosecutors in a specific area. They can come to us and say, kailangan namin ng X amount, no, because our prosecutors does not have an office in this area. So those things happen. But again, you go back to the process, no?
Okay.
And determine whether that is really valid or not. The project can be a necessity. It can be very valid. But we have to determine nga whether that project is really for the benefit of the public or just for the benefit of that person.
lawmaker.
Correct.
Because possibly, sir, with the insertion, you said that a while ago, could possibly come the corruption
Correct.
part.
For example, that's why we hear a lot of this bridge to nowhere type of project na they will build a bridge, but there's no community there or it's not needed. That's what we want to avoid, because we don't want to build projects that's for the sake of building it and getting your own contractor and taking money outside of that project.
It's funny. It seems, sir, to me, a simple yet complicated process. Can this be fixed in one way or another? Paano ho ba?
It's really a leadership issue, no? For example,
Leadership where?
in all aspects of the institution. If, for example, the Speaker of the House, no, will say, look, kung mayroon kayong kailangan in your district, coordinate with the line agency and make sure that it's part of the investment plan. No? We will not allow shortcutting the process. So that's number one. Number two, if the executive will say, okay, if some legislator will come here and request for a project, make sure that it's inside the investment plan, it's inside the development plan. Because that is really the process. If you look at the process, nakakasana yan eh. Pinky,
Who does the investment and development plan?
It's a local level.
I see.
Actually, it starts in the
Okay.
barangay. No? Barangay, municipality, province, and then it goes up.
Does that have anything to do, sir? This just came to mind with a bottom-up budgeting?
Yes. Actually, that's an improvement. No? The original was really the barangay development plan, the municipal development plan, and the regional development council. No? All of these levels. And the BUB came in as a novelty to improve that process.
But that was the time of Senator Rojas, Secretary Butch Abad,
Correct.
wasn't
During
it?
the past administration,
Right.
what they wanted is for the public to participate. Kasi
Absolutely, yes.
they want the public to have a voice in the national budget, because we don't want just the legislators dictating on the national budget, but the public really participating in the crafting of that entire budget.
So much still to talk about regarding the budget. We'll be taking a short break. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Also, the impact of the second tranche of fuel excise tax. Senator Gatchalian tells us more after the break. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Our guest today is Senator Gatchalian. Sir, yung issue sa Sorsogon, where Secretary Diokno's daughters, in-laws are officials, and that allegedly so much money has been given to that area in 2018 and also in 2019. Are the senators planning to look into this?
Well, these are allegations, and at the end of the day, the evidence will really be the most important document when you allege. And it's really up to the people who are accusing Secretary Diokno to come up with the evidences that is needed to substantiate all of this. Personally, I know Secretary Diokno. I mean, he would not last 3 presidents if he's not known for his integrity and competence.
So you don't believe it?
Personally, I would like to see the evidence, no? And off top like this, no, I would not like to believe it, because Secretary Diokno is known for his competence, no? And like I said, no, he would not last 3 presidents if he's known for this type of anomalous transactions.
So when he says that that's not really me, that's the line agency.
At the end,
You
it's the line
believe that?
agency who will implement it.
Okay.
The DBM has the power to cut, and they have the power to realign, no? Because they can see the priority projects of the entire bureaucracy. If they see that this department will really need more funds, then they can shuffle around funds.
Got it.
But at the end, it's the line agency who will implement. No, they will be undertaking the bidding, they will be undertaking the selection process, and DBM is out of that.
But here's a question, sir. can, I'm not saying Secretary Diokno himself, a secretary of a budget department, even in the past, wield some power over the line agency to favor a certain contractor?
Then it's the line agency's job to say no. No, you cannot touch. This is our programs. We will follow the law, and kahit na he will exert effort, if the line agency will say no, you cannot touch our process, then wala rin siya magagawa.
How soon do you think you'll be able to pass the 2019 budget?
We will. This is a priority measure. This is actually the only measure that we will be tackling in the next few weeks, and we want to finish this before the campaign season starts, which is Feb 13. No, so we will try to finish it before the end of the month.
Okay. Train law, we've talked about this a number of times. We had ASEC Lambino on the show. And in fact, I brought back what you said during our discussion on the train law, the first one, because you were disappointed, social services were not met, etc., sir. Now you have the second tranche. That's
Correct.
2 pesos for diesel, 2 pesos for gasoline, 1 peso for kerosene, a peso for LPG. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I would really, my initial, during the hearing, no, my initial reaction was to suspend it in 2019, at least for 1 quarter. And the reason being is 2018 was really tumultuous for a lot of our consumers. Ang bilis tumaas ng presyo eh. And when that happens, a lot of our public utility drivers, they borrow money, a lot of them nalugi because they cannot raise their fares. So just to give them a reprieve this 2019, I was actually suggesting to suspend it at least for 1 term, for 1 quarter. But things change. You know, the conditions have dramatically changed. Oil prices have dropped below sub-60.
Inflation at 5.1%.
Because of that drop in oil prices, inflation is also dropping. So the economic managers decided to go ahead with it.
Yeah.
I understand the need for revenue. I understand the need that we need to build a lot of the infrastructure programs that our country needs. That's why I respect that decision.
Okay.
But having said that,
Is there a but?
yes, because in the law, nakasulat dun yung unconditional cash transfer, the mitigating measures that will help our constituents mitigate the impact of train. And in 2018, delay sila. No? Out of the 10 million households that they need to give, only 7 million were
Correct.
given. But during the budget hearing, the new DSWD Secretary, Secretary Bautista promised us that as soon as 2019 comes in, he will implement it as quick as possible. And he assured us that wala nang delay, no, to the 10 million beneficiaries of that.
And you're holding him
unconditional
on
cash
that promise?
I'm holding him on that promise. In fact, we
Even
raised,
if they did not fulfill that promise in the past? In
2018 will give them the time to adjust, no?
Yeah.
The time to look for that 10 million beneficiaries. But there's no more valid reason for 2019. They need to implement that as quick as possible.
In fact, I wanted to bring this in, but I don't think we have enough time. ASEC Lambino did say there was a problem in that. They admitted that there was a problem, there was a shortcoming on the part.
Correct, but that problem should be resolved in 2018. They had 12 months to resolve it. Now, 2019, dapat wala nang dahilan.
Okay, a road board, what is the status, sir?
Well, now the Congress agrees to abolish it. For a very long time, the Senate has already approved on 3rd reading the abolition of the road board, and that will transfer all the monies collected from the road board. This is
National
when we
Treasury.
register our cars, we have to pay registration fee, and that goes to that fund.
Right,
So
depending on the weight of your car, right?
depending on
Isn't
the
it?
weight,
Yeah.
depending on the displacement. And that fund will now go to the general fund, no? Which is the fund that the Congress scrutinizes every end of the year. Ang process kasi ngayon, that fund goes to a special board or to a special fund managed by a special board. It doesn't go to the general fund or General Appropriations Act. Now we want it part of the General Appropriations Act so we can scrutinize it.
But the House of Representatives is withdrawing its resolution.
Well,
on
they
this.
withdrew but now
You guys adopted it, right?
correct.
Yeah.
They withdrew the law that will abolish it. But after the president said that he wants it abolished, I think there's now a meeting of the minds to continue with the abolition.
Is that a forced meeting of the minds?
I think you can say that. I think you can say that. But in the Senate, there was a unanimous consensus that we need to abolish that in order to have greater accountability.
In
of the
fact, the
funds.
story there was it was unanimous, and you adopted the House version immediately when you found out that they were planning to possibly withdraw it.
Well, there's a BICAM process.
Yeah.
But if there is no disagreeing provisions, then you can adopt the House
Correct.
version. And that's what we did to hasten the
To
process.
speed it up. Monitoring of members of the Alliance of Concerned Teachers, is this a cause for concern?
Well, I don't want to hamper the job of our policemen. No? They are tasked to gather intelligence. They are tasked to gather information. And this is regardless of who. No? But what I'm concerned of is creating that environment of fear in our schools. No? And our teachers are part of our learning system. And they communicate with their students, they communicate with their parents on a daily basis. And profiling our teachers and tagging them as such will create a sense of uncertainty and fear in our school. And that's what I'm worried about. And that's why my advice to the police is proceed with caution, no? And make sure that your intelligence is really pinpointing to people who have
Out to overthrow the government?
who have other motives
Yeah.
against the government.
Okay.
So, but I don't want to hamper them in terms of doing their job, because it's part of their job to gather intelligence.
So yeah, proceed with caution. Senator, also very recently, the President made a remark on auditors. Basically, he was saying that ang COA every time may mali talaga, i-kidnap at i-torture sila. Although Chief Presidential Legal Counsel and spokesperson Sal Panela was saying, obviously the President was kidding. But let's listen to what the President said.
Sabi ng kuwa, na yung kuwa na yan. Kasi yung kuwa, every time may mali talaga. Yung, ano ba itong kuwa na ito? So, mag-kidnap tayo ng taga-kuwa, lagay natin, torture natin dito. Kasi, sino ba gusto mo kulong ng ano? Pero yung ano, pahirapan, ang ayaw ko yung pahirapan.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think kilala mo naman si Presidente. I think it's part of his jokes and his humor. I don't think he's serious in torturing COA. COA is part of our system. In fact, in that budgeting process, at the end of that is COA. No, at the end of the budgeting process, COA monitors the implementation and disbursements of the funds.
Absolutely.
So COA plays a very important role. But in this case, in what the President said, I don't think he's serious with what he said.
Did you find it funny?
It's part of his speaking style. And I think I've heard of him talking about using that style many times. No? So.
Okay, but very briefly, I just wanted to add this. Congressman Villarian said this could cause a chilling effect. Congressman Colmenares also saying this could possibly expose them to harm. Is this putting it too far?
No, I don't think that will happen. No? I think a lot of us are used to the style of the speaking style of the president. A lot of us are used to his this type of jokes.
Okay.
No?
So you take it
Although,
with a
of
grain
course,
of
he has
salt.
to be very careful because some people might think it literally.
Yeah.
But to those like us who understand his speaking style, we understand that he's saying that in jest.
Very quickly, sir, hefty fines on litter bugs.
I think Pinky, one of the biggest problems of our country is really the discipline of our people. And a lot of our people complain about government, complain about the lack of services, but it's really doing our share, no? And being disciplined in terms of taking care of our environment, taking care of our barangay. No? It's smallest unit, they have to take care of that. And I really have this pet peeve against people na nagtatapon lang. In fact, this morning I was watching CNN, no? And I saw the news about translation.
This one.
Ang daming taong nagtapon. No? And look, mahirap ba magdala ng sarili mong garbage bag at ilagay sa garbage bag yung basura mo?
Throw your own trash.
Exactly. In fact, in Valenzuela, just recently lang, last month, we started putting CCTVs in what we call trash-prone areas.
I saw that, sir.
Para mahuli namin kung sino. And
nagtatapon.
we have evidence against that person. And I was proposing to the local government to increase the penalty of 1-week community service instead of 1 day lang. Because habitual na hindi natatapos. And we need discipline to make sure that our country is in order.
Okay, thank you, sir. I wish we had more time, but maraming salamat. Thank you, Senator Win Gatchalian. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Still to come, a French restaurant in Makati makes it to CNN's list of restaurants to try in 2019. That's for today's In Focus. Time now for today's In Focus here on The Source. The world continues to recognize the Filipinos' love for food, and the latest is the inclusion of a Philippine restaurant in CNN's list of new restaurants to try in 2019. Metronome is a French bistro that features serious gourmet cooking in a relaxed bistro-style environment. Metronome joins eateries in London, Monaco, Washington, Tokyo, Brisbane, Hong Kong, and others in the CNN list. CNN's Chris Dwyer describes Metronome's chef Miko Calo as someone who focuses on the flavors of her home country, making the most of excellent produce using the skills she honed during her career. Chef Calo is a graduate from one of France's leading culinary schools and trained under the famous French chef and restaurateur Joël Robuchon. Metronome restaurant can be found in Bolanes Street in Makati City. You like French food?
Okay, I'm okay.
Really?
I'm more of an Asian food.
Thank you for joining us here on The Source. I'm Pinky Webb. You're watching CNN Philippines.